Hey, how's it going, guys? It's the Lamaster here, and welcome back to another episode of 5 Facts, Glitches, and Secrets in Rocket League. That's right, guys. So in today's episode, we have a bunch of secrets and facts, including one from the brand new Hot Wheels update. Now, speaking of updates, we are now about 2 months away from the end of Season 3 in Ranked. So with that being said, if you haven't checked out the app GamerLink yet, I would definitely do so. Because if you don't know, GamerLink is a 100% free app that basically lets you find the perfect teammates to play with. So for example, one of the things you can do is create a beacon, which is basically like a request for other players, and you can select tags of the types of players you're looking for, such as if you're looking for a 2v2 partner that's a veteran. Now along with this, you can also look through a bunch of other people's beacons that they've created, and just overall, it definitely helps find those perfect teammates. But anyways, guys, if you'd like to check out this app, I will leave a link down below in the description, and when you download it, be sure to click that button that says my beautiful name. But yeah, guys, enough time talking here, and let's get into it with the first fact on this list. Alright guys, so starting off this video, let's get into it right away with the Hot Wheels secret of this episode. So if you happen to watch one of my previous videos on a bunch of the stuff that was added in the Hot Wheels update, you will know that I talked about the wheels that were added for the specific DLC cars, the Twin Mill 3 and of course the Bone Shaker, but we noticed that these wheels have some fairly interesting names, such as this one right here which says OH5, and then if we go down to the other one for the Bone Shaker, it is called the WW5SP. Now when I first looked at this, I had absolutely no idea what either of these wheels meant. I knew there had to be something. It's not like they just mashed their face against the keyboard to come up with a name. Who knows? They might have done that. But as for these, there's actually a very clear meaning for what these stand for. So starting out with the OH5 wheels, these are the ones on the Twin Mill 3. If we just do a quick little Google search, we can quickly find a Hot Wheels wiki page, which I didn't even know existed. But when you click on it, you can clearly see that these wheels, which are the ones in real life on some of the Hot Wheels cars, are the exact ones that are in game. And what OH5 specifically stands for is open hole 5-spoke. Now along with this, there are a ton of other designs for this wheel. I mean tons. Now of course, Psyonix just decided to go with the regular old original OH5 wheel, which is of course the original that was used on the Twin Mill 3 in real life. So that's really cool. But then when we move over to the Bone Shaker's wheel, the WW5SP, and do a similar search and get to a similar page, this one doesn't have any other special designs, but we can quickly see that WW5SP stands for white wall 5-spoke. So of course the 5 spokes of the wheel, and then of course the white circle or white wall that goes along the outside. So overall, it's definitely a very cool little secret. It's interesting to see them put the actual names for these wheels instead of coming up with something like the Shaker wheels. I don't know, but it is cool for you and me, because if we put that extra research into it, we get to see a very cool background for these wheels. But anyways, moving on to the second secret of this episode, let's do a little exploring here on one of my favorite maps, Utopia Coliseum. So yeah, in the last episode, I also showed you another secret on this map, and I'm not going to spoil that one if you haven't seen it yet, but there's actually another interesting thing that I just discovered when roaming around the outside of the map. But anyways, if you want to do this yourself, kind of explore it on your own, there's a little bit of a trick to seeing it. So first of all, you want to get a replay on this map, so whether or not you do a private match, just save the replay and then go into it after. Now once you're there, simply go onto your car and do the soft attach. This will allow you to go under the map and see a freaking ocean literally about 2 feet under you. And honestly, it's just kind of a funny thing to think about, because when you're playing on this map normally, you would never expect there to be this giant vast sea of water just under the map. And also, it's just kind of interesting to see from a design perspective, because to be completely honest, when you're normally playing this map, you barely ever see the water. Yet they decided to just build the map slightly above the water instead of cutting it out. I don't know, I just found that really cool, as well as this gigantic advertisement now on the map. But yeah, overall, it's just a very cool secret and not one that I think many people know about. As for the third fact of this episode, this is a very funny one because it's something that is seen so much in Rocket League, but not many people notice it. However, once you do notice it, it's just one of those things that you can never unsee it. And I am not exaggerating that at all. You will literally never unsee it. But yeah, with this secret, I am talking about the very symbol of Rocket League. This beautiful little shield with the octane and then of course the ball on the left like it's going for an aerial is really a very well designed symbol and one that we're all very familiar with. However, have you ever noticed that the octane that is shown on the symbol is fairly different from the one that we use in game? And the main difference that you cannot unsee is that the symbol does not have a spoiler. Yes, it is missing that wing on the back of the car that is just such a big part of the octane. And considering that the spoiler on the octane is such a common thing that we all know about, it is so freaking weird that you don't actually notice it on the Rocket League symbol. Now, I will give them credit, a lot of the other parts are still accurate, including the engine thing on the back and of course the grille on the front with all of its lights. They did get all of that right, but one of the biggest things, the spoiler, is not there, and it is just one of those things that I cannot unsee. Now moving on to the fourth secret or fact, whatever you want to call it, of this episode. This one is another pretty funny one because it's actually an Easter egg that was put into the game that I happened to discover when I was just looking over the toppers that I could put on my car. So of course you know that we have a ton of toppers and each of them has a very unique design. I mean, Psyonix goes over the top with the design of these things, and with that being said, they often add in a bunch of little secrets. Now some of them are more obvious than others, such as the Rocket League ball on the front of the visor, but one of the more secret ones has to do with the locomotive topper. So this topper itself, and I'll give you a second here to see if you can see the little secret about it, but it's a really cool looking topper. It's kind of a double one because it comes with a hat, and then you get the little moving train track that goes around the outside. But with this one, did you ever notice that the little toy train is carrying around a loaf of bread? Now, why in the world would a toy train ever be carrying around bread? At first, it seems to make zero sense. However, if you scroll over to the antennas and then scroll down a bit, you can see that this is clearly a reference to the antenna that is called Dave's Bread. Now, this antenna just has a very weird name, and honestly, I don't know the full story behind it. It's kind of a mystery, but I do know that it's sort of an inside joke at Psyonix that has to do with Dave Hagewood, who is the CEO of the company. So yeah, the bread that is on the locomotive topper is in reference to this antenna, which in itself is in reference to something else that we might have to put a little more research into. And with that being said, if you know anything about this, be sure to leave it down below in the comments, because right now I really have no idea what it's referring to, but it is pretty funny to see two items that are in reference to it. But anyways guys, moving on to the fifth and final secret of this episode. This one too has to do with some items in Rocket League, but more specifically just antennas. So again, just like the toppers in this game, Psyonix goes over the top with the designs, and a lot of them are in reference to a bunch of other things. Now the ones that we're going to be talking about in today's episode are the three ones that are called retro balls, and specifically you have the one that says urban under it, and then utopia, and finally wasteland. Now at first when you see these and you don't know what they are, they just kind of look like randomly designed antennas. However, all three of these, and you can kind of tell by the word retro in the title, but they are all in reference to the precursor of Rocket League's supersonic acrobatic rocket-powered battle cars. Now in that game, and I'm going to try to say the name as little as possible here, but within the maps that they had, they did something that is pretty different from Rocket League today, and made it so each map had its own uniquely designed ball. So of course, as you can expect, each of these retro balls are in reference to those. So first of all, with the urban one, you can clearly see that it's the same exact design, and this one actually looks a lot like the current Rocket League ball we have. But as for the Utopia one, and this map itself is the same exact one we have in Rocket Labs, but it's got a more colorful ball with a sort of teal and yellow. And then finally for the third ball, we have the one for Wasteland. It's kind of similar to the urban one, but instead it has these sort of checkered sides. But either way, it's clear to see that all of these are in reference to SAR PVC, and it's honestly a very cool reference. Now, speaking of unique ball designs, I kind of wish they would do this in Rocket League. I mean, it's fine having just the normal Rocket League ball that we've all come to love, but you gotta admit, it would be pretty cool to see some unique ones exactly like the awesome ones that we just talked about. But anyways, guys, that is gonna be it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, be sure to leave a like down below. It only takes a second and it helps me out a ton. And do not forget to subscribe and check out some of my previous videos, which should be popping up on the screen now, including how to get this awesome sort of secret black decal in Rocket League. And then on the right, we have a pretty huge player's choice crate opening. But other than that, guys, again, I hope you enjoyed today's video. I'm the Llama Sir, and I will see you guys next time.